So now we are recording this session. This is about the really basics of sales and marketing. And if you guys think I've taken you through this a few times, well, guess what? If you get your basics right, you will do very, very well. You don't need advanced strategies. You actually do not need advanced strategies. If you just get your basics of sales and marketing right, you will all do very, very, very well. Okay. It's as simple as doing virtual networking at this stage. Okay. If you have money sitting around and you want to run ads, you can run them by me. I'll be more than happy to help you with it to grow your network faster. Okay. I can run an ad now if I want to on PEN Group, grow from 2,500 to 10,000 within a week. I can do that. I don't want to. I'd rather have organic growth at this stage. Maybe at later stage, I'll do that. But if you guys don't have that sort of money, it's a very, very simple process, guys. Virtual networking, connecting from Facebook and LinkedIn, no other. If you want to use Instagram, if you're good at that, by all means, you can do that. I don't use it at this stage. I will use it at later stage, but I don't use it at this stage. But it's all about virtual networking, bringing people from these Facebook and LinkedIn groups, people who are purely investors. You don't need 10,000 investors to do well. You need about 10. In fact, even 5 if they are like the high net worth individuals. Okay. But 10 would really do a good job. But then 10 means that they only use you as their go-to person, and that they trust you, and then you can find them those deals, whatever kind of deals that they might be looking for. Now, me and Geeta, we had a target. I'm already 60% done. I think I have already reached 29 or 30. I can't remember 20. I think 29 or 30 people. So that's all you need. Sometimes 30, 40, 50 people actively looking for a certain kind of deal, and you'll be fine. You'll do very, very well. Okay. But all it is that they need to trust you. Okay. But it's all about virtual networking and bringing those people into your Facebook group or LinkedIn group, and then bringing those people from that point into your WhatsApp group or your Telegram group. Okay. If WhatsApp really bothers you with that many groups and so on and so forth, by all means, use Telegram. Okay. Create a Telegram group. It allows you 20,000 people in one single group. However, the dynamics of that change with 20,000 people or 1,000 people in a single group, they do change. So you do have to be a bit more careful while leading a Telegram group. Also, the fact that Telegram is not necessarily as active in UK. It definitely is in many other countries, but in UK, people are still not that active on Telegram. Okay. It's a very, very simple process. If you just follow that, and you bring in 1,000 people into your WhatsApp or your Telegram groups, not to your Facebook groups. Remember, yes, you bring them to your Facebook group, but they are not always active on Facebook. Remember, just because you go and write something on Facebook does not mean everyone is checking. Only literally a handful of people actually check anything that you write. Okay. Engagement on Facebook back in 2009 and 10 and 11 was completely something else. I remember making a video about 6 years ago, and there was 3,000 views on it. I didn't do anything at all. All I did was I shared it in a couple of groups, just a couple of groups, and it had 3,000 views on it. It literally is getting almost impossible to get organically 3,000 views these days, unless you really come out with something viral. Okay. But it's all about bringing them to your Facebook group and then or LinkedIn group, and then leading from that, you bring them into your WhatsApp or your Telegram groups. Okay. I am in, including everyone else's groups here, I am in probably about 35, 36 groups. In fact, 36 to be precise. And then I have 70 plus deals going on. So can you imagine the 70 plus the 36, over 100 of them not archived? Rest of them are archived. Archive I like 1,700 messages, which I tend to delete, the ones I don't need. However, it's not easy to manage all of that. But, but that's what it takes when you're actually building a network, especially when you're starting out, or especially when you're at initial stages of any business. It doesn't really matter what business you're in. Okay, you run a bakery store around the corner. Okay, someone walks in, and then you say, you know what, I'm trying on this new pie, or something, right? Some bakery piece. Would you like to get notified when we do them next time? The person says yes. Can I take your phone number? You take that phone number, you put them on a notification list, and the next time when you make them, you send a message, this guy comes in and buys from you. Again, it's very, very simple marketing. It's very, very simple sales tactic. Are you with me, guys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Any questions on that? Just the simple process. Any confusion on that? All you're doing is you're serving them. You're there to help. You're not there to sell. Okay. You're just literally helping people overcome the challenges that they might be facing in terms of building their property business or building their portfolio. Okay. That's all you are doing, and there is nothing else to it. You're not actually selling anything. Don't try to sell anything. If you just provide enough value, I promise you, people will come to you and say, can you help me? Okay. And I'm just literally sharing my experience with you. It's absolutely nothing else. I get calls every single day, and in fact, if you guys want to ever spend a full day with me, let me know. You come and shadow me. You watch me answering the calls. You watch me replying to the messages. You watch me doing virtual networking. You watch me doing work, getting work on my sites. You watch me doing pretty much everything that you want to. Obviously, when we're done with this COVID situation, but you can literally come and watch me doing all of that any day that you like. Okay, especially if the day I'm not necessarily booked on a call or something. Okay. And again, within that, all you're doing is you're asking open questions, which is, what is it that you're looking to achieve in the next few months, few years, whatever that might be. Whereabouts are you based? Any specific area you're focused on? What kind of budget do you have? So on and so forth. If you just ask open questions based on the GROW model, it just becomes so much more easier. GROW stands for, would anyone like to help me with that here? Muzzy, would you like to help me with GROW model?
Yes, sure.
Go ahead.
So GROW, I'm just gonna get my notes up, is an acronym.
Yes. What does it stand for, and how do you use it?
Okay. So the first one is the goal. So exactly what it is that you're looking to achieve, in terms of what it is that you're looking to sell or what you're looking to pitch, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
So what's the goal? And then you move on to the reality of the situation. What is actually happening now? How can you put those two together, with the goal and the reality, to make a story on how you can help them? And then look at the options or opportunities. What can you utilize in your sort of toolbox, as we usually call it, to be able to help match the two issues, what their problem is, and what tools you've got to put them together. And then we said the W is the will. Are you looking to actually push for it and go for it itself, to put the focus on being able to close the deal, so to speak?
Thank you for that, Muzzy. It's very, very simple. Asking open questions based on finding what their goals are. When you are actually selling something, you're not selling, you're serving, but in essence, you're trying to see if there is a match for the services that you provide. When you ask questions based on their goals, what you're trying to ascertain or find out is, are they looking for certain kind of deal that you can potentially help them with? Okay. And then at the end of it, you're trying to help them achieve their goals. So in the story of sales and marketing, the hero of the story is your client or your prospect, not you. Okay. You don't need to stand out in terms of sales. You need to help your clients stand out and help them become, they are the king of the story. They are the leader of the story. Okay. You're helping them achieve their goals. And then guess what happens in the process? You achieve your goals. Okay. When you are doing personal branding, that is a more creative way of helping others stand out while you stand out as well. Okay. But when it comes to sales, you use the grow model by asking open questions with what, when, why, how, and so on, and help them. Sometimes you're going to come across people when you ask them, what are you looking to achieve in the next 2, 3, 5, 10 years? Well, guess what? You're going to come across many people who actually do not know. So you're actually coaching them, giving them more clarity in terms of what is it that they're actually looking to achieve in the first place. So you're actually becoming their coach as well. You're coaching them through the process, giving them clarity on the best strategies available to invest. Either it's a cash flow strategy or it's capital growth, capital appreciation strategy. You need to give them clarity. Sometimes they just don't have clarity. Sometimes they turn up and say, you know what, I'd like both. Well, if you're looking for both, you need to invest somewhere in the Midlands, right? For example, in UK. But if you're looking for just capital appreciation, it's London or somewhere in London counties. Or if you're looking for just cash, cash flow, then you're looking up north, cheaper properties, higher rent, so on and so forth. Okay. But you need to give them clarity. Going from the G of the grow model acronym is ask them open questions on what is it that they are looking to achieve. When are they looking to invest? Where exactly are they looking to invest? What kind of budget they have? And even when you're doing that, when you build rapport initially, you want to find out a little bit about their emotional status as well. So do they have family they need to support? Are they going through any difficulty? You need to find out from those open questions, building your what I call the emotional stack, or the emotional credibility with the person first before you start to talk about business. Okay. I've observed in UK, you can still talk about business without talking about personal life, but I think it's more about getting to know the person well enough and building that trust first before you start to talk about business. You can do it simultaneously as well. However, it's always a good practice to try and get to know the person well before you jump on to start to talk about property or business. Okay. From grow, you take them to, so from G, you take them to R, which is reality. So in terms of where is it that they are at this moment of time, they might own just one property or two. How many do they have now? What kind of experience do they have? Because if you are speaking with someone who's new to the property industry, you can show them a flip deal. You can show them, BTL investments or, simple HMO strategies. But if they are very much seasoned investors, the last thing you want to discuss with them is a BTL opportunity. Okay. So they might want to invest in, land deals, development deals, or they might want to talk about below market value deals, more advanced strategies. Okay. So you want to find out before you even propose anything, you want to find out how experienced they are, how many properties they have, how long have they been in the property industry. If they have taken any courses, I tend to ask that question as well. If they have, what kind of courses have they taken? And what have they learned? What kind of action they've taken from that? What sort of success have they had? If you ask that question, you start to realize if their sales skills or marketing skills are effective or not, so on and so forth. You really need to know the person well enough to be able to get to the point of when you actually ask them about opportunity, share with them the opportunities. Okay. So G, R, and then O of growth is opportunities. Once you know the person well enough, that's when you can say, okay, you said you were interested in flip projects in Coventry or in a certain region in this budget. I may be able to help you with that. I have a couple of them in the pipeline. Okay. That's as simple as that. And from that point, literally you will know if they're really action takers, and that stands for will. Are they really willing to take the action and really buy that particular deal from you or not? Everyone clear on this grow model and the basic formula of generating leads organically, nurturing people in the WhatsApp groups? Some of them, in fact, 97% people are not ready. Just because you're ready to buy, they're not ready. Just because you're ready to sell does not mean they're ready to buy. Only 3% statistically proven are actually ready to buy at any given time. And out of that 3%, remember, you have thousands of people in your competition as well to buy from. Okay, so you start nurturing those 97%. In fact, out of the 97%, 30% statistically proven will never buy from you. Okay, but then you start to nurture that 67% range. Can you see that? There's a lot of research on this. You can go and read on Google, but at any given time, only 3% people are ready to buy. And that also includes your competition as well, which means your competition is there to sell as well. So they may buy from them. And then you have the 67% which you have to nurture. Okay. And almost, well, never worry about the 30%. They're never going to buy from you regardless of what you do in your life. You can kill yourself. They're just never going to buy from you. Okay. The 67% is the biggest range. And they really do need nurturing, like really, really nurture. Okay. You go and help them as much as you potentially can, regardless of how you do it. Either you do it through, the events that we do, you give them these presentations, free videos, marketing touch points, loads of content. You keep nurturing and nurturing till the day they buy from you. And that could take months, years, or many, many years. It doesn't really matter. Okay. That's a simple formula of the basics of generating leads, nurturing them, and then bringing them to a point where you can actually propose them something. Okay. Remember, you are serving. Please change the word sales from your dictionary to serving. It's all about serving people. I've had numerous times people messaging me that you're the only person who replies to us. The rest of them, when we message them 3 or 4 times, when you don't buy, they stop replying. I've had this message at least 100 times, maybe more than that. Okay, that I'm the only person who's replying to them, even after asking tens of questions, and the rest of the people that they keep asking questions to, they stop after 3 or 4 messages. Okay. It's because in my mind, I'm not selling, I'm serving. And when I serve, people come back to me and they ask me questions, and we always do get to a point when they buy something from me. Either it takes 6 months or it takes 5 years. Okay. That has always been my approach throughout my life and throughout my career in as many businesses that I've ever, launched and created and sold or whatever. That's always been my approach. You change the word sales from your mind to really serving. In fact, if you go online and search about serving leadership, you're going to find loads and loads of content on that. Okay. Any questions? I'm going to take questions now before I move on to the next step. Any questions?
Just a quick one there, Jack, on the stats that you were talking about. The 30% that will never buy from you, and then you've got the 60%, 67%, and then you've got the 3%. How do you in particular, how do you pick out the ones that will buy out of the ones that you speak about to figure out which percentage they go into?
So there is, so you can actually do this online. I tend to just keep serving at this stage in the formula of PEN. All I'm doing is I'm serving. We are getting to a point where we're going to have loads of filters. Mm-hmm. Okay. So what that's going to do is we're going to, there's an email list that they can subscribe to. And then from that email list, we'll send them messages starting to filter more and more and more people out. that filtration is done by a very simple process. There's a set of questions you line up creatively, and then you send them one by one in your emails. And those who reply are the ones you're filtering more and further into your email list, into subcategories. Okay. It's a simple formula, but it does take a bit of creativity. I've done this before in a couple of my businesses, but you do have to sit and think on the whole filtration process. You can again, the questions are very, very simple, open questions. You can ask something like, are you actively investing at this stage? If so, what is the criteria, or how much budget do you have? Okay. At this stage, we don't have any deals, but we're just trying to ascertain if you are actively looking for deals in the first place. If you're not, if you just tell them that I'm not selling, most people are very, very receptive to taking that information and replying to you. I said most, not all. Does that answer your question?
It does.
It's very, very simple, but it literally is done through filtering people out with open questions through multiple channels. You can even do that on WhatsApp. Okay. I have the notification list. In fact, the notification list that I've been growing for the smaller deals, even though I've only added, I think 29 or 30 more people, I already had 68 people in there. So I think it's already touched 99. So I have 100 people in that, which I can filter further out as well. Okay. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does. Thank you.
Fantastic. Any more questions?
Just to check, when you say notification list, do you mean by broadcast list?
Broadcast list, yes. On WhatsApp, it's a broadcast list. You also need to have email subscription list. Okay. If you guys don't have it, start now. Use MailChimp. It's free. Go ahead.
Yeah, the one which apparently I'm sure a few of you already know, Bilal. Bilal. There's a guy who actually sent out yesterday a small link. I kind of like his creativity because I know him as a sourcer, and I kind of have took some deals of him before, and I think the way he has done his subscription is very much short and precise. So I think it doesn't kind of probably, I mean, in terms of completion, the completion rate would be higher because he has asked very few questions.
Yes,
so
just one question. You need to ask just one single question. Yeah. So yes, you're right. We're gonna get to that point, Geeta, of copywriting. Okay, we're gonna cover that a few bits of that in a bit. Okay.
Okay.
But are you all clear on the simple process that you need to follow to generate those leads and to nurture, and then obviously bring them to a point where they at one point buy from you? Are you all clear on that?
Yes, Jack.
Good stuff.
Yeah, we're good.
All right, guys. So the next step is, and this is something that's very vague. There is no clear way of doing this, but it's all about empathy skills. Okay. Why am I touching on empathy skills? Okay. Have you come across someone who jumps on the phone and the first thing he does is he starts selling you? Have you come across that? Okay. He doesn't know you. He doesn't know if you are even a potential prospect. He doesn't know if you even are interested in their in their product. He doesn't know anything about you. In fact, he doesn't even know your name sometimes. And they start selling you. Okay.
Yeah.
And you keep pushing them. You cut the phone down if you're on the phone, or if you walk into a shop and they're trying to push you. You walk into a retail shop, someone comes to you, how can I help you, sir? How can I help you? And then what is your feeling when that happens? You're like, okay, I'm not interested. Okay. Even if you like something, you get actually put off. Okay. That's because the person is not serving, but selling. And he has absolutely no empathy skills. Okay. It's literally understanding the perspective of the person that you're speaking with. Okay. What is that person like? Get to know the person. If you're speaking with an investor, what kind of What is the image that he lives in? What is the perspective that he lives in? You need to sit in his space and think, what does he really need? Okay. If you cannot answer that question, I promise you, you will struggle most of the time when it comes to sales. You literally need to sit in that person's position by asking open questions, getting to know the person as much as you potentially can. And then from that point, you'd start to talk about what is it that you do. Okay. When I am talking with someone, I normally tend to take 20, maybe 30% airtime when there is a sales call going on. Okay. I only take maybe 20 to 30% airtime. It's statistically proven that the less airtime you take, the more you're likely to sell. Okay. Just ask open questions, get to know the person. What is it that they are looking for? What kind of world do they live in before you say anything to them or share any opportunity or how you can help them? Okay. It's literally that. When you speak with your friends, right? Normally friends are like 50-50 airtime. You know, he throws a joke, you throw a joke, so on and so forth. But when you are in business, your airtime reduces to 80 to even 90%. Okay. All you're doing is you're speaking and asking questions and getting to know that person and helping them achieve their goals and helping them achieve their objectives and helping them create their dream life, which will eventually lead to you creating your dream life. Does that make sense? It's so strange that most people will send you a message on LinkedIn or send you a message on Facebook, and all they're doing is pitching to you. They don't know nothing about you. They don't know if you're a prospect. They don't know if you're even interested in their product. All you're doing is just throwing messages and throwing here is something I have to sell. And they almost never sell anything. Luckily, maybe 1 or 2 pieces of whatever they sell. Okay. If you really, really want to sell, you really need to get to know the person and go from that point. Does that make sense?
100%, Jack.
Okay. So we've covered a bit of empathy skills, getting to know the person well enough. Open and closed questions, you know that. Sales, the grow model, okay? And pitching. Now we're going to cover the whole cycle of marketing, okay? The whole cycle of marketing, okay? Within that, we're going to cover positioning, okay? Sometimes you don't need to position yourself. Sometimes the market gives you a position. That's always the best positioning when market actually gives you a positioning, okay? I'll give you an example. When most people try and connect with me, most people, not all, but most people, when they connect with me, they have a couple of different perceptions about me. Someone who's involved actively into property industry, building a portfolio, okay? As well as probably one of the most connected people in the property industry, okay? These are 2 separate positionings, but they're all very well integrated and well, it does a good job. Are you with me? Okay. When I was starting out in PEN, I wanted to position myself as the go-to person for connecting people. Okay. That's the aim that I started with. Okay. Because with PEN at the core, that's one of the main purposes, right? You need to start to work on your personal brand in terms of positioning as what are you known for and why should people come to you and not to someone else? That's your positioning in terms of your personal brand. Okay. The starting point of that is all your profiles. Sit down, write about who you are, what you can do, what your experience has been. Go and fill up your LinkedIn profile fully and take as much time as you potentially can, because people will create perception according to what you write on your LinkedIn and your Facebook profile. Or in fact, for that matter, any of your other profiles. I have a personal website, for example. People can go and check my personal website, so they create that perception about me as well. Okay. But whatever profiles you have, it starts from creating your profile very, very strong and the go-to person in terms of what is it that you can help them with. That's your starting point. Okay. And then from that point onwards, you create content. Always keep in your mind, you're serving and not selling. Okay. Because when you start to create content, and if you forget that you're not serving and you're selling, the kind of content you'll create, you will push people away rather than attracting people. Okay. That leads to your marketing channels and your marketing touch points. Okay. The other day, Jasim called me and he said, you know, I'm looking, can you help me upload this video on the PN YouTube channel? And it's funny that he did not know that there is no PN YouTube channel. The YouTube channel that you see at this stage is my own personal channel. So that's my personal brand. Okay. Why do I not have a PN YouTube channel? Because people don't like connecting with companies. They like connecting with a single individual. Okay. If you were to ever watch company YouTube channels, except entertainment, that's a different story. Okay. If you watch any of the company YouTube channels, they most don't do very well. But if you look at personal YouTube channels, they mostly do well in comparison to company channels. Okay. Because people can connect with a person, but they cannot psychologically connect with a company. Okay. It's just a name, right? There's no human. Okay. So from creating your profile to creating your social media channels, that's your marketing channels at this stage, right? There are hundreds of marketing channels, from Yahoo to Google to LinkedIn to, there are literally hundreds of them. Okay. One of them was Medium, I came across some time ago. There is Daily Motion, as in YouTube, as in videos. There is hundreds of them. I can send you the list. In fact, I actually sent the link, the list in the WhatsApp group that we have. You can actually check on the number of channels that you can potentially use. In fact, when you start to write blogs for other bloggers, or when you start to write anything on social media channels or anything anywhere, they all start to become your touch points on multiple social channels. Are you with me? At the same time, when you start to, or if you ever start to do writing letters, or you start to do leaflets, that's again your marketing channels and touch points. Okay. Doing leaflets is a single marketing channel. And then we know that one of our reps actually does 100,000 leaflets a year. That's 100,000 touch points. Okay. And that, you know, in very similar fashion applies to your social media channels. Every time you write something, that's a touch point. But remember, you're not selling, you're serving. If you forget that, I promise you that you'll push people away rather than attract them. Okay. In fact, we all tend to sometimes every now and then forget this, but it's a reminder that it's not about sales. Just turn the word sales from your mind to serving and you'll be fine. Okay. You're going to create the content that you'd create will be amazing. Whatever you do will just turn out amazing, just because you've turned that word into serving. Okay. Will people use you? The answer is yes. But guess what? You're here to serve. If you keep serving, people will keep recommending you and you will do very well over a period of time. Okay. Does that make sense? Yes? No?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Are we clear in terms of positioning yourself in a specific way? So Muzzy could be potentially known as the rent-to-rent person at this stage. That positioning can always be changed over a period of time. Okay. But at this stage, can he be called the person, go-to person for rent-to-rent?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Geeta, can you be known for example, the go-to person in near Heathrow area if you're looking for certain kinds of deals?
Yeah, sure.
Can you be known for that? Yeah. Or
Yeah.
in fact, you could be. I'm gonna mute. I think Kushal. Yeah, I'm gonna mute. So I was saying it's all about getting known and creating your personal brand. If you have so far decided not to be out there, guess what? Unfortunately, it's going to be a bit of a push for you to create that sustainable business. Okay? You really do need to be out there and virtual networking, creating content. I know there are a lot of introverts who create content. They don't like facing the camera, and that's absolutely fine. You can be very creative in terms of creating content. You can do whatever you like. You can create presentations. You can create slides. You can take a picture and write something besides it. Just because you don't want to be on a video does not mean that you're limited for creating content. Are you with me? And is everyone clear in terms of positioning themselves? You really do need to be known for one thing specifically. Does not mean you can't help them with other things, but you do need to be known for one thing that you can really help them with well. Okay? And then they can come, because once someone starts to trust you, remember, they will know you, they will know what you can do, they'll come back to you for other things as well. But you need to be known for the one thing before you can start to build that credibility and trust to get to that point when people approach you. When it comes to your positioning, one of the biggest strategies, in fact, one of the most effective strategies is writing a book. Okay. And releasing that book on Amazon. And when you meet people, you can tell them, here you go, here is a book for, I don't know, £5 or £10, whatever that might be. Or you can give them a Kindle for nothing or even £1. Remember, that's a front-end product for free to help them get to know you a bit more, and then eventually use your services. Okay. And if you observe, I don't know if you guys know, but I have a book on Amazon as well. And me and Jassim are writing another one. Okay. So that's one of the most effective strategies when it comes to creating a personal brand with a strong positioning. Okay. Okay. So a little bit about social equity. So if you observe that we as humans tend to be more inclined towards people who are more successful than us. And if you want to be known as the successful guy in the industry, you want to hang out with more successful guys. Okay. And when I say hang out, it's almost like, you see someone taking a picture with a celebrity or someone who's very well known in the industry. You take a picture, you do a video interview. In fact, that's the strategy that my YouTube channel is based on. I tend to invite people who are serious developers, people who are more successful in the property industry. I invite them, I take interviews, and I'm actually known for that in the property industry. Okay. But guess what happens? When people observe you as hanging out with more successful people, they create the perception that you are the next successful person, or you are the successful person, and they want to do business with people who they have a perception about being successful. Okay. people, so if you start to take interviews, people will call you thinking that you are as successful as the people you're interviewing. That's just a psychological process that tends to happen. Okay. So if you haven't started working towards your personal brand so far and your positioning and creating social credibility, well, guess what? Start to do it now. Okay. Because if you start to do it now, it'll take you at least a year or two to get to that point where you have a kind of an average brand. Okay. Because remember, to build a very strong brand, it does take a long period of time. Either it's a personal brand or a professional brand, it does take a long period of time. But to start with, it's going to take you at least 12 months to get to a point where you're actually known as the go-to person to ask questions to take help from, and eventually, guess what? Buy from you. Okay. So that's social credibility or social equity. I'm going to touch a few bits on copywriting. Okay. You were asking Geeta earlier, the way he had done is kept it very, very simple. Yes, when it comes to copywriting, if you observe me, not that I'm saying I'm the best copywriter in the world, I'm not by any means, but if you observe my copywriting, I tend to be more creative. I write something, I think a million times before I write something these days. Previously, I was a bit, sometimes I used to be a bit careless, but not anymore. I do think many times and very, very creatively, getting people to open up and engage with me, as well as giving them the power to call me. Feel free to call me. In fact, I don't ever remember anyone writing something like this. I'm the first one who started, and now I observe everyone writing around me writing the same thing. Feel free to call. Okay. Which is always a good sign when people start to copy you. Okay. And when people start to criticize you, that's another good sign. So when it comes to copywriting, you do have to think in terms of how can you get them to open up. So ask questions. Okay. Coming back to the point that you picked up, Geeta, earlier, was he asked a very simple question and then he gave 3 options. I think it was 3 or 4, something like that. I can't remember, 3 or 4 or 5 options to choose from.
Yeah, I think because I think he specializes in those. That's why.
Yes, so,
but I think it was
it doesn't really matter. It could be 2 options. It could be 3. It could be 5.
Yeah, but I think like the thing which I kind of think, this is what I personally think. Yeah, it's just the feedback. For example, when I open the pen fact find sheet, I think if in case we try to customize it, not to have too much detail in first attempt, people tend to kind of still not be lazy to fill it. But if you have to put too, I know it's a very good filter to have only people with all the requirements written in first place. But if in case we have short and precise, at least we will be having a bit more of database, in terms of people who are looking to invest.
Do it, Geeta. Look, you don't have to follow every single system and a process that we are trying to use. You can be more creative and do it your own way. No one is there to stop you. Remember, that's your business. Okay?
Yeah, sure.
We are only giving you guidance, and you can take that guidance and improve on it and even show it to us as well. Say, hey, you know what? I maybe changed and tweaked a couple of things and it's actually working better. Share it with everyone. Okay? Remember, things are there to be improved every single step of the way in the whole journey of your business. Okay? Sure. So by all means, you can change and remove and add or do whatever you like with it. But the point that I'm making when it comes to copywriting is that, first of all, when you write content, try and create a story. Okay, if you go live on Facebook or LinkedIn, or if you make a YouTube video, try and tell stories. People tend to gauge in stories. Okay, why do we watch a movie? We watch a movie because we are being told a story, right? Okay.
Yeah.
People psychologically tend to gauge with stories rather than when you're telling them something. If you tell them something, they tend to get bored, okay, many times. But if you tell them a story, they do gauge a lot more. Okay, so try to create your content in terms of story. It's not easy, but it's simple. I always say that it's simple because you're telling them the story of the day that happened with you, okay? Or story of the week, or whatever that might have happened with you. You just tell them in that actual format that happened with you, okay?
Yeah.
And keep it open questions as always. Always ask open questions based on, you know what, I learned from this instance, I learned this, but what are your thoughts? What did you learn? Okay? Or what has been happening in your journey from that perspective, or in that condition, or whatever that might be. It's all about asking those open questions and getting them to open up creatively while you're telling them that story. Okay?
Yeah, sure. It's just since I think I've created this bit of network, I've been overwhelmed with the amount of messages and the follow-ups I'm having. So I don't know if I can really
Archive.
cope up with it.
I'll tell you what to do, Geeta. I tend to archive. So I would reply to a message and I'd archive unless I don't need it, unless there's something actively happening. So I'll give you an example. All the groups that PEN groups that I have, they're all very much on my WhatsApp. I don't tend to archive them. But if I'm exchanging messages personally with someone, or I've created a group that is not really leading anywhere, I tend to either delete it or archive it. Okay? Which means that you don't get overwhelmed with it. Okay? I would imagine how many messages do I get?
Yeah, I can imagine you must be really busy.
Yeah,
because it's just something I've started to experience since a week, and I think it's getting overwhelmed. Of course, I'm not worried about it now. I'm worried about it probably after June, when I go back to my office, when I'm not going to be able to commit, and I don't want to spoil my reputation, in terms of people trusting what they're trusting.
No, when someone sends you a message, most people don't expect you to reply to them right away. Okay, most people do have the patience. Some people don't. Well, guess what? The ones who don't, they're not your potential clients. Okay, it's the people who have the patience to wait for you to reply to. Okay, I sometimes don't reply to emails for weeks and months. I remember not checking my emails for 60 days. Okay, when someone messaged me, said, I've sent you an email, I'm like, well, when I get time, I will reply back to you. But if it's something urgent, you can tell me here. Okay. So just because you don't check your emails or messages does not mean it's the end of the world. All it means is that it does slow your business. Remember, you're building your own business. If you reply to your messages quickly, you build your business faster. If you reply to your messages slower, guess what? Your business grows slower. That's all. But other than that, nothing else really happens.
Okay, sure.
Okay. Okay, now I'm going to talk about the last bit, which is very important, which is a value stack. Okay, and this is something that I talked about in our few other sessions as well. It's value stack in terms of emotional stack as well as logical stack. When you are speaking with people, you use the grow model, you get them to open up to you, but what is it that you're actually doing at the core, right? You're getting to know the person, building that trust. Okay, but when it comes to building trust, it's the emotional trust that you want to build. Because remember, there's a lot of research done that as humans, we tend to take our decisions emotionally and we try to prove them logically. So when you see people buying these properties, in most cases, they're actually taking an emotional decision and trying to prove it logically by saying, good return on investment, it's going to help me with this, or it's going to help me with cash flow, whatever. But at the core, they're trying to solve an emotional problem, which could be becoming wealthy, having more time, either to enjoy themselves or to spend with family. Whatever that reason might be, you need to try and find out that reason and then get to know the person well. Okay, because most people will trust you when you just ask questions and get to know them. Let them speak their heart out. Okay, Because when they can trust you emotionally, they will not hesitate to buy from you. Okay? It's called emotional stack. It's all about getting to know the person well enough, and that's all there is to it. In many cases, you're going to come across when people don't even ask a lot about you. You keep asking them, so you know them very well, but they may not even know you very well. But even then, they will trust you because you are getting to know them. You're making them the story, the hero of the story. You are getting them to open up to you. And on top of that, when you let someone else talk and they are sharing their story with you, okay, it's an ego boost as well. So they are getting a bit of an ego boost in terms of, oh, I am the one getting the special treatment. I'm the one being heard. Can you see that? Are you with me?
Yeah.
So it's all about creating that emotional trust with the person to be able to get to a point where they come to you and say, can you help me with this? Are you with me? And then that value stack can first needs to be emotional. So you need to know the person well emotionally, get to know what is their motivation, what is it that really triggers them, like what is their main trigger, what is the emotional hot button that they have. Okay. And then after that, you do the logical stack, which means, hey, the numbers look good, very good on this deal, so on and so forth. Remember, they're not taking decisions logically, they're taking those decisions emotionally. So get them to open up to you first, and then later discuss those numbers, okay? Because those numbers are not that attractive. What's attractive is that they can trust you and they can take decisions on your wisdom and your understanding of the market. Are you with me?
Yep.
Yeah.
So the first is getting to know them well enough. That's the emotional stack. Getting to know what motivates them, what is their emotional trigger. You know, the emotional trigger could be as simple as, I want to spend more time with my family or my kids, or I want to spend more time on holidays. I want to relax. I want to be known as the wealthy guy in the industry. I want to be known as the go-to person. Remember, it's the ego nurture as well. If someone has this ego, well, you don't need to tell them that they have ego. You're here to nurture that ego. Okay. Obviously not in a negative way, but more in a positive way, in terms of, if they want to be the go-to person within their industry, well, guess what? Your job is to help them become the go-to person. Okay. Are you with me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Any questions? No? Good stuff?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay. Good stuff. Okay. So how many of you observed that everything that I've shared with you, I've actually been applying everything that I've shared? How many of you have actually just observed everything that I've shared? You can actually see it on social media. You can see it on the personal websites, the company websites, the YouTube channels of me doing interviews. How many of you have been observing that I pretty much do everything that I've just shared with you? Mazi?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. I've seen it, especially with response to questions on other groups.
Yeah.
And sort of like serving even in other areas to sort of bring people closer to yourself.
Yeah. Okay. Serve. That's all that matters. In fact, one of the things that I'd like to share before we finish today's call is that, can you observe, I don't stick my foot in someone else's issues.
Mm-hmm.
There is so much going on in these groups, right? I can very easily go in and, hey, this is what I think about it, and so on and so forth. I don't. I only come in when I'm really, really required. Don't stick your nose in someone else's problems. Don't come and advise unless you've been asked. Because the last thing you want to do is advise someone who's not asked you. Well, guess what? You're just going to create an enemy. Okay. Try and reflect back on any of your life instances where you've actually gone and advised someone, and that person has turned up and said, well, you know, I didn't ask you for advice. Has it happened to you, Muzzy?
Yes.
Well, guess what? They didn't ask you. So it's not their mistake. It's not their mistake. It's your mistake.
Yeah.
Don't advise unless you've been asked to. You ask open questions, and when they ask you or share with you something based on that, and they ask you a question based on that, that's when you come in and say, hey, these are my thoughts, because they've asked you now. Okay. Don't just stick in your little finger into other people's problems or issues, and stay away from drama, for sure. Okay. Because there's a lot of drama that goes on into when you are building a business. There's a lot of drama in these groups. There's a lot of drama in many people's life. They watch a lot of soaps, unfortunately. A lot of people do, not everyone. So their minds are filled with dramas, unfortunately. Okay.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not saying that people are drama. That's not what I'm saying by any means. But I'm saying a lot of people do have a lot of issues in their personal life. And the last thing you want to do is stick your finger in their personal issues. Okay. All you're there is to serve them, help them if they ask you.
Yeah.
You are here to serve those who need your help, not serve who don't. In the same context, you're selling to people who want your products and services, and not to those who are not looking for it.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're in essence not selling. You're just proposing to people that, look, this is what I've got. Are you interested?
Yeah.
I can serve you. I can help you with questions. I can give you more clarity, so on and so forth. But that's when they ask you. Does that all make sense?
Yeah. I think Justin's got a question there.
I'm going to actually complete today's recording. So this can potentially go on some of the social channels, or, you know, for future trainings. But yeah, amazing. That was it. Thank you. So I'm going to